Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining us today. So today in this video we're going to be making some icing, just the base stuff, so that later this week I can make more colors. So to make my icing I use a 2-pound bag of powdered sugar, 5 tablespoons of meringue powder, and 3 teaspoons of clear vanilla. The clear vanilla is really important because using the stuff that has a brown tint to it will change the color of your icing. Now for the water, I fill about a cup's worth of water and heat it up in the microwave for 30 seconds. I find that the warm water really helps break down the icing and not get as many clumps. So let's get started. I start by adding my 2 pounds of powdered sugar to my mixing bowl. A lot of people will shift their powdered sugar, but as I mentioned, the warm water tends to break down the clumps for me, and I haven't had a lot of issues with it. Next, we're going to add our 5 tablespoons of our meringue powder directly to our powdered sugar mixture. Now that we have everything closed up, we can start mixing together the meringue powder and the powdered sugar. Sorry for the little bit of tripod shake there, got in my way. Now that we have everything just a little bit combined, we'll get ready to start adding in the vanilla and the water. Now I start adding my water just a little bit at a time. I don't want my icing to get too watery. From there I start putting in my vanilla. I'm very liberal with my pours with the vanilla. Sometimes meringue powder can have a weird taste if it's not sweetened up enough. So I add in my 3 teaspoons and it's okay if there's extra. Now I start putting in a little bit more water, and as you can see our icing is starting to thicken up. But again, we are going for a thicker consistency, not a flood icing. I need to be able to have some icing for my outlines. Now, I speed up my mixer to get everything moving a little bit thicker and to keep the clumps from happening. Now that I'm happy with the consistency of my icing, I start to poke it with my spatula just to check. Now if you can kind of see in there, they're getting what we call very soft peaks. Now if the icing was standing straight up and not starting to fall, that would mean that I would need more water as it would be too stiff. Now if I was doing that and it wasn't even standing up at all, like if it was immediately falling, that means I have more of a flat icing. But from here I can see that I have a nice soft peak. Now I mixed up a little bit more because there was a little bit of powdered sugar on the mixture and I wanted to get that off there. Now that I'm happy with the consistency of my icing, I get ready to put it into my glass container in order to use it throughout the week. Now, an important thing to remember is if you were just making white icing, you would still need to add white gel coloring to it. Having a regular base icing like what we have here is really not a true white. I'm using my spatula just to get the rest of the icing off the wall and maybe mix any additional powdered sugar that was kind of flaking on the side into the consistency of my icing. Now from there, I'm going to put it into my glass bowl. I really like the glass containers because they seem to preserve the moisture better than the plastic ones. I'll move it closer for you there. Now that I have everything out of the bowl and I start smoothing around the icing, I can still see my soft peaks and start to get rid of any bubbles that might have formed during the mixing process. It's really important not to over mix your icing, but you still want to make sure you get it all together. Thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure to like and subscribe for future videos.